We are good to go. All right, welcome back. I'll go through some of the forum rules. All the band's forums will be conducted with the utmost respect and fairness to all candidates. The candidate forums function separately from the band's election process. If you have questions about the election process, please contact the election judges. The purpose of these forums is to inform and educate voters about the candidates and key issues facing the Mille Band of Ojibwe, to offer candidates the opportunity to inform voters of their qualifications for office and plans should they be elected, and to further inform and educate the candidates of the key issues facing the Mille Band. Today's forum will begin with candidates for the Chief Executive, followed by candidates for the District 1 representative positions. The candidates receive the forum guidelines, informing them of the format and components of the event. The guidelines are also available at the table near the entrance. Please take a moment to review them if you haven't done so. Each candidate signed in and their names will be drawn from a hat to determine the order of opening statements. Closing statements will occur in the reverse order. All candidates are allowed to remain in the forum during the opening and closing statements. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to make opening statements and 3 minutes to make closing statements. A timekeeper will be seated at the front of the row and will signal the candidate with time cards, reminding them when they have 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and when their time expires. While the candidates are making their opening statements, constituents in attendance are invited to submit written questions on index cards provided, like I've said throughout tonight. Pens are also provided. If you need a card or pen now, please raise your hand and we'll try to get you one. Questions must be addressed to all candidates and may only be submitted while candidates are until the candidates are done making their opening statements. Following opening statements, the candidates will be escorted to a quiet waiting room while the forum team works with the moderator to review and coordinate questions for the candidates. This team includes Native Governance Center Program Manager April Deal McKenzie and Program Director Jamie Davis. Ladies, please raise your hand. We'll also have a question screen team asking for 2 volunteers from the community to work with Jamie and April. These volunteers must reside within the District 1 community. We'll also have a timekeeper for tonight's event, like I mentioned earlier, and ask for a volunteer from the District 1 community to help us keep time as well. The questions will be collected and reviewed by the screeners. Screening prevents duplication and ensures the questions are respectful, balanced, pertain to the election, and address all candidates, no personal questions allowed. As a moderator, I will make final determination on the appropriateness of questions. Candidates and constituents are asked to respect that determination. At this time, I will ask 2 people from the District 1 community to volunteer on the forum team to help screen questions. If several people volunteer, we will draw 2 names. So if anyone would like to volunteer, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come get a pen and paper. 5. If you're interested in volunteering, come up here. We'll put your name in a hat, and we'll have luck of the draw pick our 2 screeners. Do 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 do. As the volunteers are writing their names on the paper, we'll need another volunteer to help draw the names out of the hat. Do we have someone in the crowd that would help draw the names? Please come up. May the odds be in your favor. All right. Okay, those are our 2 volunteers. Thank you for everyone who put their name in the hat. Let's give a round of applause for everyone who volunteered. Oh, question screeners who were just called, please raise your hand so Jamie knows who you are. Now we will ask for a person to volunteer as the timekeeper. If you're interested in serving as the timekeeper, you get a nice front row seat just off camera, and you'll help us keep time for the candidates. Do we have a volunteer for timekeeper tonight? Hey. I'll do it. Hey. All right. Okay, there's our volunteer. Please go up, see Jamie, and she'll give you some instructions. Thank you again to the volunteer. Oh, round of applause. It's just the timekeeper. Tonight, we need someone with a phone. Whoops. All right. Sorry, we don't have our own timers in the 21st century because everyone has a phone. Do you have a phone and would like to keep time? A watch. We should have a phone so we can make sure we can see. Sorry, young man. All right, there we go. Please come up front and take your seat in the reserve side. Continuing on with the rules for tonight, we will present 3 questions to each of the candidates. Candidates will be invited individually into the forum to respond to the questions. Each candidate will have up to 1 minute to respond to the question. The timekeeper will signal the candidate with timing cards when 15 seconds remains, 30 seconds remains, when 15 seconds remains, and when time expires. Once the candidate finishes answering questions, he or she will go back to the waiting area while the next candidate responds. When all candidates have finished the question answer section, I will invite all the candidates back in and they will be given a chance to provide a closing statement. Closing statements will again be 3 minutes and be made in reverse order of opening statements. At this time, the timekeeper during the closing statements will remind them with 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and as their time expires. In fairness to everyone involved, it is vitally important to conduct ourselves in a positive and respectful manner during the forum. Following are the rules that we will adhere to. Please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices and keep usage to an absolute minimum. If you must make a call, please leave the candidate forum meeting area. Recording on your personal device of any kind is prohibited. If we see you with a device and it looks like you're recording, we will come over and ask you to please shut it off. The audience will give each candidate an opportunity to be heard. This is not a community meeting. Comments from the audience are not accepted. A table for campaign materials is provided outside to each of the candidates from outside the forum meeting room. No campaign materials are allowed to be on display in the forum meeting area. This forum is not a rally or a debate. In deference to our limited time, please hold applause until the end of the event. Timelines and rules will be strictly followed and the forum will end promptly as scheduled. Childcare is not provided. Please help all of us help take a look after our little ones. All candidates have agreed to follow the format and the rules established at the candidate forums. I, as the moderator, have the authority to adjust these rules as needed if unexpected circumstances arise. Candidates, please keep in mind as the moderator, I mean no disrespect if I interrupt you when your time is up. Miigwech. At this time, I will list the candidates for Chief Executive. They are Curtis Leroy Kalk, Juanetta Joe Thompson, Melanie Ann Benjamin, Carolyn Marie Bolio, Tanya Ray Abid, who hasn't joined us yet tonight, and Ronald Dean Davis. We will now draw for the order of opening statements. Can I please get a volunteer from the audience to help to draw the candidates' names? Please come up. Oh. Go ahead. We'll have other times to help draw. Thank you very much. Round of applause for the volunteer. Candidates, like I stated earlier, you will each receive 3 minutes to make your opening statements. At this time, I will introduce Juanetta Thompson. Oh, sorry, yep. Timer ready?
Bonjour, Wabashkanagudukwe Indigenous. My name is Juanetta Thompson, and I am running for your chief executive. My mom and dad are Myron and Cheryl Garbo, and I currently live in Hinckley. I've been married to my husband for 25 years. We have 3 daughters, Lakora, Kyra, and Tori. I have a bachelor's degree in business, and on March 29th, I will have worked for the casino for 29 years. On October 17th, I was moved into the assistant general manager position. My work ethic has been excellent throughout my career at Grand Casino Hinckley. This year, we budgeted roughly $67 million to be sent over to the band in distribution, and like I said, this is only Hinckley's numbers. I'm going to talk a little bit about that money later. Along with my team, we are responsible for the management and the success of the casinos. So I am looking for an opportunity to utilize the experience I've gained in the past 28 years while working at the Grand Casino and bring back the knowledge that I have that I've earned in college. My dream is that every band member is living their best life. I will do my best to facilitate that by ensuring accountability, efficiencies, and effectiveness of the programs and services that we offer. I am ready to serve my tribe. I want what's best for you. With my business background, I look at things a little bit different. I use analytics and data to help me make decisions every day. We need to determine how we can make our government more efficient, look at ways to make the programs more effective, and hold the people who work in those areas accountable for results. But I need your help. By creating effective programs where you play a role in designing and the implementation of these programs to help address the problems plaguing our community. You know the problems that need to be addressed. We will work as a community to address these issues. We need to ask ourselves which problems are solvable, and then ask ourselves which programs we are going to continue to fund. We have programs that are ineffective or just need some work. One small change can make a big difference. Once we determine what the issues are and how we want to address it, we'll use technology to help create an efficiently run government. Once we have an efficiently run government, we can focus our efforts on how we can utilize the excess dollars the casinos send over each year. I want to ask for your vote today. I know I can make a difference. Please provide me this opportunity, and I will use everything that I learned while working at the casinos to make a positive impact in our government. Miigwech.
Hold your applause, please. Thank you. That's always tough to say. Hold your applause. Sorry, that's the rules. Up next, Carolyn Bolio.
Thank you. Miigwech. Welcome to tonight's forum, District 1, my home. So the other forums, I've been straight to the point. I'm running because there's a crisis here in District 1, and it's affecting all the other districts. I would like to declare a state of emergency if elected. What that means is we'd put every single resource we need to in addressing the problems. And of course, the problems are the hundreds of ODs, hundreds of deaths, hundreds of children in out-of-home placements. Many of them are with non-band member families. The families here can't visit them. They don't know where they're at. They can't get a hold of them. Grandparents are denied the option to care for them. Family members are denied. Cousins, aunties aren't good enough. I know that when we passed that law, the revisions of Title 8, Chapter 13 in 2018, there was language in there that they were supposed to place children with band families. They were supposed to consider WENT as placements. There's supposed to be active efforts to keep families together, and that's not happening. They're destroying families. Also related to the ODs is the homelessness. Dozens of boarded up homes. More every week. Families being evicted in the middle of winter. Our policies are not working for our people. There's too much suffering. And then I would like to touch on TARO, tribal employment rights. I have been fighting for band member development since I started my career with the band in 2000. Tried to work to mentor folks at the casinos, struggling with management and supervisors to keep band members employed. I moved across the street as commissioner, helped redesign the Department of Labor so they could force band members getting jobs, work with the casinos to develop programs, mentorships, succession programs to set band members up for leadership positions. Nothing's happening. There's a glass ceiling over there that many band members can't get past. Same people in leadership positions all across the government. So if I am elected, I would make sure those policies are changed. The boarded up homes, we could create a Habitat for Humanity program. Interested band members waiting on the home list who are able can help fix up these homes. We just gotta get creative, and we gotta hire the managers and leaders willing to do the work. I'm dedicated to getting these things done. I can't sit around for another 4 years and watch more suffering happen. We need to get our kids back home with their families. We need to get these houses boarded up. We need to get band members jobs, small businesses, loan programs, so educated band members can get their own businesses and have their own lives without depending on government or the corporate commission. So that's what I'm here for. As the night goes on, I'll be here to answer any other questions. Miigwech.
Up next, Ron Davis.
Ani, Chi'inini, Nabinwe Indigenous Cause. Monday I spoke about implementing a program to train band members in our casinos. To follow through with that, what was talked about when the casinos was first opened, I think it was called a shadow program or something like that, to learn how to run our casinos. And from what I see, it hasn't been very successful at all. To change that, you could have a contest to create incentive for these department supervisors. For a first supervisor to successfully train a band member and have the same, have the same incentives for band members also when they become successful and complete that training program. The supervisors, because then in turn they will be fulfilling the duties of that supervisory position and give that training supervisor time to schedule vacation times, because having more than one supervisor will give that supervisor incentive. They get paid vacation. Then the band member can give a job evaluation of their trainers. Also to help the band members create a shuttle service to go around each home and pick each one of the band members up that don't have any transportation. At least until my plan to increase per capita kicks in. Then we'll be able to buy our own Odaban. My reason for this, and why should our leaders restrict us from having a say in what should be bought or what program to budget monies for? Who's to say if we put money in this program, it's going to help us all? But then it turns around and only ends up helping a small percentage of our people. That's wasted monies for programs that don't help all of us. So that's creating big government, bigger government than taking care of what we need to take care of, our own people. Changing that and not letting them get away with spending our profits on hotels and other multi-million-dollar businesses for what? To own another business we feel no ownership to? To be treated like second-class citizens when we try to go and visit and use these services or even apply for a job, for that matter, and go through the screening process and jump through their hoops only to be set up for failure? Because the Chumukaman will find a way to get rid of us all the time. Job security.
Please, no applause. Hold your applause to the end. Next candidate, Melanie Benjamin.
Buju Anin Anishinaabe Duke, Mino Gijigad Nungom, Mandaman Indigenous Cause, Melanie Benjamin Indigo. I am your chief executive, and it has been my honor and my privilege to serve the band and promote the general welfare of the band members. What have we accomplished? Some candidates will only talk about what's wrong in the community because they don't want to admit the progress that we have made. And if you look back, we have a Four Winds, the only tribal treatment facility in the state of Minnesota, new language programs that will save our language forever with jobs for elders. We built 160 new homes and renovated more than 100. Built hotels in the cities and bought those, built 2 new community centers and a new clinic, ended interest rates for home mortgages, restored the scholarships for the descendants, one of the only tribes in the country that has purchased a motel for homelessness, investigated and overhauled the tribal police and put a band member in as a chief of police, new commercial laundry businesses, medical complex, printing company, protecting the band from constant attacks from other governments, including the Minnesota Chippewa tribe, more band members ever in management positions at our casinos. So together, we have accomplished a lot. But don't vote for me just because I have the most experience. Vote for me because the vision I'm working towards is your vision that was created by the band membership. We have secured our homelands, and now it's time to invest in rebuilding our community. And just a few of the things I want to do: aggressive new workforce development program that will increase band member employment in government by 50%, band member preference with on-the-job training, band member minimum wage of $25 an hour guaranteed no matter what level of the job that you're at, start band employee member incentive program to financially reward employed band members, get rent-to-own policy passed through band assembly so band members can purchase their rental homes, provide loans to band members who want to purchase vacant homes for remodeling, create the new jobs in farm and the ranching enterprise we just purchased. Work with the courts and the band assembly to overhaul out-of-home placement policies and build a family service center. And make sure that we give the opportunity to band members that want to be social workers to help protect our children, and making sure that grandparents are being able to care for their grandchildren immediately when a family service issue arises. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Kurt Kalk.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. Those are hard to top. A lot of good speeches tonight. They sound really good. But I want to take a moment. I know we're on camera and we're being filmed, so I want to incriminate a few people. Hi, Ella Jean. How you doing? Rose Wynn. I warned you. Good evening. Bug Haskins, D'Angelo. Good evening. Good to see you guys. I know a lot of people. I know pretty much everybody in the room. Daryl and Garrett are sitting out there, and Chastity and Keith, and of course Shirley, Alicia, hi. Spend a little time with that because it's important to me to see the faces here that I see every day. I don't want people to get lost in an election process that talks about coming to visit you every day, just during election time. My time has been spent over years talking to people. This isn't a rush thing. You might see me come to your house. I hit you when I can. But I know that would be an embarrassment for me and you both because you know what I'd be acting like. And I don't want to be that person. I'd rather catch you like I have. In the last 20 years, I dealt with a lot of people at work and at home and heard how your lives are. And I've paid attention to how you have to do. So, you already know who I am a little bit and what my ethics and rules are. So communication is important. I'm limited on time here, so don't forget my flyers out front. They're a little more detailed on some of the ideas I have. Ron shared some of the same ideas that I've got. I want to talk about budget information processes. I want tribal members more involved in that. I've worked for years, and people say, why that's so top secret? It isn't. As tribal members, we should see where our money's going and which budgets and how many. One of my biggest things is the elder budget that talks about travel. There are elder trips that go out there, and I just want to see that that money gets distributed a little more fairly amongst elders. There was a band assembly bill that was sent through, and it did not pass compromise hearing on corporate spending. I support that bill. I think it's correct. You need to know what's spent, and the district representatives are your voice. They did put that bill forward, and it didn't make it through. They did do their best to try to get to that information. Our housing list is difficult, long. I am on a housing board. We deal with it every day. It's really hard to watch. Elected official relationships are important. And if you don't have that relationship, sometimes things move very slow like they have. It's taken many years for these things. I think over time I've earned the trust and the wisdom and the knowledge it takes to work with the assembly fairly and get things moving quicker with no anything chastising me from doing so.
Thank you, candidates. At this time, we'll take an estimated 10-minute break to organize questions from the audience for the chief executive candidates. No more questions will be accepted at this time. If you candidates could please follow Jamie back to the sequester room. Everyone grab another piece of fry bread. Our question volunteers who are going to help with the team, please come up front and see April. She'll take you to the sorting room. All right, they asked me to do a test just to check on sound. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll count to 10 in Lakota now. Wanji Nupa, Yamni Dopa, Zapta, Shakpe, Shakoi, Shagloga, Napchunka, Wikchemna. All right, how did that? Okay. You all must have asked a lot of good questions, so please bear with us. I know they're working hard to sort through them and pick the questions. I just wanted to take opportunity to remind people again, I know we hate evaluations, but there are evaluations at the front table. If you get a chance, please grab one, fill it out. Like I said earlier, we take your suggestions to heart. We're always wanting to make our processes better at Native Governance Center so we can better serve tribal communities. So, oh, I thought it was that. Yeah, so please, if you get a chance, come fill out an evaluation. Should be just a few more minutes. All right, everybody, if you could wrap up conversations, welcome back. We've organized the questions and are ready to proceed. We will follow the same order as the opening statements. Candidates not speaking will be sequestered during the question and answer phase. Jamie, please bring Juanetta out. Juanetta, as you're coming out, welcome back. I'll remind you, you'll have 3 questions, 1 minute to answer the questions. The time will start, 1 minute this time, yeah. The timer will start when you start talking. They'll remind you when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as time expires. First question. What is your plan for all the boarded up housing in the districts?
One of the ideas that I was thinking about was, you know, like, I don't know how many houses there are, but like if we had level 1, level 2, level 3, different, like level 1 would be like houses that only need a little bit of things done. Level 2 would be things that need a little bit more. Level 3 would be extensive rehab or whatever ends up needing to be done with the houses. But that's what I would do. I would hire a bunch of contractors to come in and fix each of them houses, and obviously in the different levels. That's one of the things that from a I don't know if you guys ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. One of the things is that people need to have the sense of community, safety, and home, right? People want homes. And if we can't provide that for our people, I don't know why people wouldn't feel that sense of community. That's what we want, right? We want people to feel that sense of community here.
Question 2. What do you believe accountability means?
I think that one of my principal beliefs is accountability, because I really believe that if we can ensure that people are held accountable to do the things that they should do, we can all be successful. I'll use an example. In Hinckley, I'm the assistant general manager, so I take care of the ops team. The ops team is the people that are responsible for ensuring that the programs and the departments are running efficiently and effectively. That's what I do. I do that on a daily basis. So one of the things, you know, in regards to that, I believe accountability is one of the foundational things that you need to have in order to get stuff done. And like I said, I thrive on it. I love holding people accountable, because then I know that things are going to get done. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to provide that money for the government to be able to utilize them dollars that we send over every year.
Third question. How are you going to help reunify families?
You know, one of the things that I was thinking about is our new historical trauma is the opioid epidemic and the families that are being broken apart. Most of it is caused by that. You know, every single one of us in this room have probably been affected by the opioid crisis. You know, I've had family members pass away. My sister has passed away from drug use. We've had death in our family, and I've had family members that have had their kids taken away. That's what we need to do. We need to look at the programs and family service policies to make sure that we reunify our families. You know, what I talked about, Maslow's hierarchy theory, right? Kids need to have that safety and security to be able to be thriving adults. And if we can't provide that, I don't know. We're in for a world of hurt.
Thank you, Juanetta. That's your 3 questions. Please have Carolyn come out. Welcome back, Carolyn Bolio. As you're walking up, Carolyn, I'll remind you, 3 questions again tonight. You'll have 1 minute to respond to each question. The timer will signify you when you have 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left, and as your time expires. First question is, what is your plan for all the boarded up housing in the districts?
All right, well, first of all, I think I mentioned the Habitat for Humanity that we could probably create if we got someone smart enough to coordinate that. And I think we would have enough interested band members to participate. Also, home loan program. We've got hundreds of people on the home loan list, and I don't know what the process is right now, but I think they just take a couple people off the top, monitor, see if their credit's good enough, and then they offer them the homes. I would like to look at everybody on that home loan list, check all their credits, and whoever is qualified gets their home loan. That home loan program's revolving, so all the mortgages that are paid back to us should be loaned back out. And I'm not really sure what the success rate is on mortgages right now, but I know we could do a lot better. So Habitat for Humanity, mortgage program, and just maybe more staff in housing and help that maintenance program get those houses fixed.
Second question, what do you believe accountability means?
Accountability means doing your job as you're supposed to be doing it with integrity, honesty, and when something's wrong, you take accountability for that, you fix the problem. Accountability just means doing things right and with integrity, doing it fairly, making sure that all band members are treated fairly. There's no favoritism, nepotism, anything like that. That's what I believe accountability is. Spending the money properly, how it's supposed to be spent, and just being honest, being an honest leader, and answering to problems and issues that are brought to you. Not ignoring band members, not ignoring failing programs. That's what accountability is to me.
Third question, how are you going to help reunify families?
Well, first I'd like to get in there and find out what happened to the family services law that was passed in a few years ago. It might have been rescinded, so I need to find out where that's at, because we put enough language in there that was supposed to protect our children and keep them with their families. And now we're gonna have to go in there and find out how we get our children back home to our families, because they're everywhere. WAS should be able to take in their WAS. Grandparents should be able to take in their grandchildren. I mean, I almost break down crying when I have to listen to an elder say they don't know where their grandchildren are, and family services isn't helping them with visitations. I've had family members, not only lose a child to OD, but then they lose their grandchildren as a result of that. So the policies are, I don't know what they're following, but I would get in there and look into that, and we would come up with a solution to get those children back home to their families where they need to be. Thanks. Make much.
Thank you, Carol. Should I take questions? Please have Ron Davis come out. Welcome back, Ron Davis. Ron will remind you how we do stuff. You'll get 3 questions tonight, 1 minute to respond to each question. The timer will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as time expires. First question, what is your plan for all the boarded up housing in the districts?
To gather those with experience, to teach the younger ones how to renovate them. It's a very easy thing when you have experienced carpenters out there that know what they're doing, and to be able to bring the youth, young men and women, to teach them how to pound nails or whatever it may be that you need to do. And make sure that they get done thoroughly. Have the right kinds of training. The people that know what they're doing, put them in those positions.
Second question, what do you believe accountability means?
Accountability. Accountability to me is to be able to stand up in front of somebody and look them in the eye and let them know that you're doing what you say you're going to do. And I would be that person. I would be accountable for everything that I say I'm going to do, I will do. That's the most important thing. I mean, if you're going to stand up in front of somebody and lie to them, that's one of the worst things you can do. You have to be accountable. Look at it, and look at who you're talking to. Make sure that they know that you're important.
Third question, How are you going to help reunify families?
I talked about that on Monday, about how we have the county and state cops that arrest us for menial offenses like trespassing or whatever it may be. And what they do is they give an offense to somebody. They charge them with something so they can bring them to the court and either bring them to jail. That's tearing apart the family unit. We need to hire lawyers to help combat those state and county lawyers that are trying to keep us in jail. We need to keep our family unit together. That's how we stay strong. Miigwech.
Thank you, Ron. That's your 3 questions. Please have Melanie Benjamin come out. Welcome back, Melanie Benjamin. I'll remind you of the rules for the questions. 3 questions, 1 minute to respond to each question. Trying to see which side you're going on. Right there. Timer will let you know when you have, time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. First question, what is your plan for all the boarded up housing in the districts?
Currently, the houses are boarded up for safety reasons. They're empty. They're being renovated, and through the housing department is to speed up the process. For instance, if you were asked if you want this house in this neighborhood, you have 2 weeks to decide that. And then if you say no, then the next person has 2 weeks, and so on and so on. So we want to make sure that if you're asked to have this house, that we can speed up the process and making sure that the elders get that list is quicker as well. But there is reasons why those houses are boarded up because of safety reasons. They're currently maybe being renovated, and we don't want people going in there stealing the appliances and breaking windows. And so that's kind of tough, and I think people, right now we have over 500 houses in our inventory, and 10% of those are actually boarded up. So that's kind of like a norm. Okay. I was going to go back in the room already.
2 more questions. Next question, what do you believe accountability means?
Accountability means standing by what, in our situation as chief executive, we have the band statutes that we have to adhere to. We all took an oath to uphold those statutes, and so we have to fall within that guideline. And if we tell people we're going to do something, we have to be accountable to make sure that what we say we do. And we also have to make sure that all our employees understand that as well, that you need to respond to a band member when they call, when they stop in to visit, they have an issue, and to me that's accountability. And each one of us, regardless of who we all have the responsibility to be accountable to ourselves, to our employees, to our clients, or to other band members that are asking for services.
Third question, how are you going to help reunify families?
We have to get that title updated to make sure that when someone goes into the family services division and they're in that, maybe a child is in protective custody, and we were talking about these rules. There's some rules out on the table that talks about how family services does that. But the main thing and the biggest thing is, what about a grandparent if they want to take their children? We should have that be done very quickly. And I have been talking with the Commissioner of Health and Human Services to correct this issue. But once a child is in protected custody, it changes the whole part of discussion. And so hopefully that we educate and we make sure that everyone knows this process. And then if it's not going to work for us, let's change the law. But we have to work with the band assembly to get that done. We have to work all together with band assembly, the court, and the executive branch, so everybody is on the same page.
That's your 3 questions. Please have Kurt Kalk come out. Welcome back, Kurt Kalk. Kurt, I'll remind you, 3 questions. You'll have 1 minute to respond to each question. Timer will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left, and as your time expires. First question, what is your plan for all the boarded up housing in the districts?
My plan would be to look at when we originally had a problem in community development with people taking or shy of stealing from us. There were restrictions put in on the community development process and what it is. The problem is that they got to order every little piece of equipment one at a time, every board, every window. That's our own restriction. We can lift that, and it can move forward faster. Hire a big company to start getting them done. Get them to hire some band members with them. Long ago when there was, I'll just say some theft that went on, the electronic world hadn't caught up quite like it is now. It's pretty hard to get past that. And if we can just get them contracted out and stop the restrictions with POs, I know the internal process seems strange to some people, but there is some accountability to that. So that would really stop a lot of the boarded up houses quick if we just bid them all out at once instead of dragging our feet on it.
Second question, what do you believe accountability means? What do you believe accountability means? What does accountability mean to you?
I like that question. That is the worst word I've ever heard used. I hear transparency, accountability, and you know what? That's the same old rhetoric. I don't like that. I like to think about what's accountability as what's character. When you ask somebody to do something for you, you ask somebody for a favor, you ask somebody to get something for you, did they do it? That's more important. I think that the phrase accountability just is so dry. It comes down to looking at the people you tell them you're going to do something, then do it. Don't give them I'll call you later, I'll look it up on my email, we'll get back to you. That's what accountability sounds like to me today. I'm not that guy. I'll walk down the hall and get the answer. I won't just wait and wait. Actually be responsive. Be proactive. Look at what people want and need.
Third question, how are you going to help reunify families?
I was a foster parent for 15 years, and I watched how families, got disassembled and put together. And I think we need to look more intricately at case plans. A lot of people don't want to face the fact that, if you don't comply with your case plan was only supposed to help your family not be put at risk. You really need to look at that and get more people involved in case plans, get more family members involved, get more traditionally involved, not just a social worker looking at you in the face and say, you better do this, you better do that, and you're going to get reunified with your children. That doesn't work. That's not working for us. You need to really sit down with them and include everybody in a family, because one person in the family can't do it alone. They need their family support, and that's what I would think. Get more people involved in their case plan. And some people I've heard talk about losing children and how they're taken, but nobody's talking about the root of the problem. And I see it everywhere in the homes I visit. Grandkids at home with the grandparents when you guys should be retired and enjoying yourselves.
Thank you, Kurt. That's your 3 questions. That's it. We'll now ask the other candidates to rejoin us back in the forum area. Yeah.
They're watching TV. It's not a good show.
Chief Executive candidates, welcome back into the room. It's time now for closing statements. I'll remind you all, you'll have 3 minutes to give your closing statements. The time will start when you start talking. The timer will remind you when you have 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires, we're going to go in reverse order from opening statements and question and answer. So up first will be Kurt Kalk. Back to 3.
I was just up here, so that's cool. I want to continue about the housing a little bit. You know, half the houses you see boarded up are also under home ownership, which means we've got quite a few homes that are going into, what's the word? What? Foreclosure. Default, whatever you want to say. They want, you know, they're losing their homes. And I don't know why that is. I'm not sure why that's happening. But you have to sit down and tell each homeowner that, you know, look at the price of rent in the area and then look at your home house payment. Maybe you should start paying on your house, you know, and take good care of it. So half them you're seeing boarded up are under home ownership. Remember that. So it isn't just a lack of a program thing. There are great programs around. They're absolutely great. But if you go to that program and you get bad treatment, what good's the program? If somebody throws an application at your kid and says, fill it out, and your kid looks around like he's scared to death to, what good does that do? Some of that information doesn't get to the top of the list to get dealt with. It stops usually at a commissioner's level, and the commissioner is not going to go and say to the boss, hey, I got some people complaining about me. That's not going to happen most of the time. So the issue doesn't get addressed. I say I'd change that by having program administrators answer directly to the chief executive instead of to the commissioner of administration. Have a direct line to me. And then I want to hear it. I want to sit, I want to hear every bit of it without a bias. And I want to hear them complaints and see what you guys got to say when that time comes, when you're mistreated or treated like you're digging in somebody's own pocket to ask for a little assistance. I know what that treatment's like. I've seen it a lot. The opioids, catch them while we can is what I say. When they want to turn themselves in and they want to do something before they're in legal trouble, let's grab them. When they do that, when that minute they step forward and they say, I need help, or I'm not liking what I'm living through, I say, let's develop a program that grabs them right now and gets them busy. And don't wait till they're arrested by the law. Let's try to do that before it happens. We really need to look at that. So if somebody asks me what you do about opioids, be proactive and be active and listen to them. When they step forward, grab them. Let's get them in a treatment center as fast as we can. My daughter got herself in one in 3 days. That's pretty good. Corporate spending versus government per caps. All I have to say about that is this. Every time we have a budget shortfall of some kind, let's look how we can cut government spending or cut per caps. Well, I think it's time we start looking at corporate spending and start cutting some of that. Nobody ever talks about that at all. And that's one big issue with me is that, you know what, let's see what they're spending on. Commissioners, all I say is about them is I'll post the positions. I'll post the positions, let the best person have the job. Thank you.
Next candidate, Melanie Benjamin.
Tribal governance is about being in it for the long haul. If you remember back in the 1990s, former Chief Executive Marge Anderson said, we can't undo 150 years of poverty overnight. And so we know change takes time. Sometimes it's hard to see the change because we're focused on what is happening right now that we forget how things used to be. And I think about all the progress that we have made over many years. And that doesn't happen by quitting your job every time you feel like you're not making progress. It means sticking with it for the long haul until you get the job done and make that change. And I've been in this job for the long haul. And I want to also do a shout out to the band members. We have many band members that work for tribal government and the casinos. And you know what? They go to work every day. And they do the best job that they can. and they're helping us to try to make life better for us, for our community. So I want to say miigwech to you for doing that. The elders that come to meetings and say, here's my wisdom, are you willing to listen to what I have to tell you? And so I think that's very important. And I think about the elders. 50 years ago, Chief Executive Art Gabo, he began a campaign to secure our reservation boundaries forever. In 1989, I was hired by Art as a commissioner of administration. That year, he announced a 100-year plan for the reservation to win our treaty rights. Was that done? Yes. That was under March Anderson. And also to secure our reservation homelands. That was just secured here a couple of weeks ago when the state of Minnesota agreed with the federal government that our reservation has never been disestablished. That's huge for us as we go. Just think about that young kid that now has something to look forward to and doesn't have to fight about that as much as we had to. And when I first took office in 2000, that was really one of my main goals, is to secure the homelands of our reservation. And when I think about it, it's because we all work together. We all have that common goal. We all want to make sure that we have a good life on this reservation. And you're a part of that positive change. And I hope that you continue to be a part of that. And I want to say miigwech to all of you, the employees, and even some of the elected officials, really quick. When Kurt was Secretary Treasurer, he says, I'll stay home while you go out there. I'll stay home and watch what's going on here. And that was an agreement. So I went out there and did that work. And it worked. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Ron Davis.
I'd like to touch a little bit on the boarded up homes again. I had a chance to think about that, and I spoke of that on Monday down for the urban people down there, and my answer was to give the houses to the people so they have ownership. We shouldn't be worried about money given back to us. That's greed. That's Chumukaman way. We should give each individual a house so they feel ownership in it. That's pride, you know. That'll take care of the boarded up houses, or the houses that are all boarded up for that. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to move on. I'm just going to read. I'm not going to have any eye contact. Here I go. By cutting the budget to only the programs that benefit all band members, for instance, Circle of Health, sanitation, housing, are a few examples, but to plan and invest in solar energy, wind energy, and having them become self-sufficient makes more sense than owning a hotel that could go belly up if businesses goes down. And there's many ways that could happen. So saving money by cutting the government's programs allows us to increase our per capita on top of money we get out of the long-term savings and non-casino revenues to an amount not yet figured, but not to exceed a sustainable amount so as to bankrupt us, but enough to help us focus on Pimatizi Win, living in harmony. So with that being said, creating a hierarchy of Ogeechee Da and Ogeechee Dakwe, and starting with the big drum ceremonies in Medewin, and by attending these ceremonies and practicing our religion and practicing our treaty rights on all of our ceded territory will determine our per capita amount. Also do what is necessary to open the way and have more drum keepers and help our drum society grow to give a sense of pride and belonging. We'll be able to have more ceremonies, create and grow and become a stronger nation. With a bigger drum society, we bring our people back to the Nimi Ding. More gifts, more blankets, more pride, more ceremonies to hear our language, to give thanks, and get closer to Pimatizi Win, living in harmony. My plan is to increase per capita based on community involvement or working with new band member recruitment program to develop band member advancement in the casinos. And if there isn't a noticeable improvement within 1 year, we'll find replacements to train us. That's one of my main priorities. So by committing to help to run the casinos, there will be per capita classification amount, and if these individuals are drum members or attend these ceremonies, you can then make an increase on top of your program classification. Also attending college or helping with sugar camp or harvesting fish, wild rice, birch bark, hunting, helping with midday ceremonies.
Next candidate, Carolyn Bolio.
All right, Miigwech, District 1, for coming out tonight. These forums aren't sufficient to get our points across as elected officials. You know, you got a total of about 9 minutes. So I'd really encourage you to read my materials, check out my Facebook page, and ask me questions. Otherwise, the things I will be focusing on if elected, if I get your vote, are community appearance. You know, when you come up here at home, you just see a lot of dilapidated homes, you see unkept ditches, garbage all over. I think we could have community cleanups throughout the year, not just once a year. I see discarded couches laying on the side of the road. I see a couple homes that are ready to fall apart. And so I really want to get in there and fix these things. I'd like to get some mature trees planted here and there instead of, working on those little seedling things that we get from the DNR. Those are nice, but they take, 20, 30 years to mature. So I'd like to get some mature trees planted around here. I also like to have a program take control of our parks, trails, and cemeteries, make sure those are clean and safe and our people can use them more. I took a walk on one of our trails last fall, and it was just unkept. There was trees falling on it and garbage and, of course, needles and things like that. Housing, we can fix housing. I described to you Habitat for Humanity and increasing home ownership through the mortgage program. Family services, we want to look into them and make sure they're following the policies that are going to keep our families together. Self-sufficiency, band members need to be working. They need childcare to work, they need homes to work. So we need to holistically approach the issues. We can't just give band members a job with no housing, can't give them housings with no jobs. Corporate commission's got to get in line with tribal employment rights. I've been fighting to have that done since I started working for the band. Band member development, worked over there in the 2000s trying to keep band members employed, that have issues with their supervisors, try to work those out. A lot of band members would get fired for just attending a funeral. So there's issues, and they're still here. They've been here since day one. It'll be almost 30 years since we've had our casinos. Look at all that money that's been coming over here. There shouldn't be this much suffering. So I want to change some things. I will work with the current commissioners to see if, they want to stick around and be in line with the new vision. And if they don't, we'll find another place in government for them. And if I have to do that, I would post the positions and reach out to those band members who I know got master's and bachelor's degrees. We've been funding that scholarship program for a long time, and I know we got a bunch of educated band members out there who are just looking for opportunities. So I'm gonna seek those folks out, and we're gonna make some changes. So please vote for me, March 31st. And I also have a meet and greet scheduled, March 18th. It's gonna be at the Onamia Vets Club from 5 to 8. I've asked Smokehouse Meats to cater some food, so come on down. I heard they're really delicious.
Next candidate, Juanetta Thompson.
Are you happy about how our government is serving you? Do you feel the programs and services are meeting your needs? Are you living your best life? What could I do to help you answer yes to all these questions? We asked the question that we asked tonight was about housing and how we were going to fix up the houses. It comes back to the sense of community, and the housing is a very important part of that. We have people that are homeless. We have people still living in poverty. As I was walking around doing campaigning the last couple weeks, there's houses that are so in bad repair. It hurts my heart to think about how people are living. Even when we're such a rich tribe, I don't understand how that continues to happen. Part of the things for supportive services is One of the things that I'd like to do is reintegration program for offenders. They need to have programs and services that can bring them back to our community and help them be thriving, productive people in our community. You know, that all comes with housing also. They need place to come home to. You know, I was just, in my family, we have family members that have felonies, and they can't even go home because their parent is taking care of their grandkids. It affects us all, you know, and our kids. How are our kids? You know, I talk about the historical trauma of our era. How are our kids gonna be later? You know, we talk about back in the day it was the boarding schools. Now it's the opioid epidemic, lack of housing, lack of services that meet our needs. You know, I want to create activities for the kids. You know, I'm not sure exactly how late the NEGON program goes, or we do, or any of the programs, because my kids are older. But, you know, the kids need something at night where they aren't going to get involved in the drugs. We need something for them later so that they're busy. You know, I talk about that with supportive services too. The people that are coming, that are addicted, I can, you know, it's all over in my family. I know what they go through. And they need services that help them too. You know, programs that will help them stay away from the people that are bringing them back in. It's like the crab mentality, you know. I'm going to bring you back in, and then continually there's going to be a continual cycle.
Let's give the chief executive candidates a round of applause. Miigwech to you all. This concludes the chief executive portion of the forum. Let's take a 10-minute break to organize the candidates for the District 1 representatives.
Yeah, oh yeah.
As y'all are standing up and stretching your legs, I'm going to remind you again, surveys at the front table. Please grab a survey, fill it out, help us improve this process. Thank you. All right, we're going to get started in about 5 more minutes. District 1 representatives, candidates, if you're in the room, please start making your way up front. 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. We're going to start back up in 2 minutes. You don't understand how horrible I feel. I went home and couldn't sleep. I felt so bad. So, thank you, though. I appreciate it. Thank you. There's Ginger. Virgil. All right, if we could start wrapping up our conversations. Welcome back, everybody, to the District 1 representative part of tonight's forum. I'll start like I did with the chief executive candidates by introducing them all. Valerie Sharissa Sam Harrington, Nicholas Ryan Shaw, Virgil Otis Wind, Ginger Yvonne Wias, Sandra Lee Blake. We will now draw for the order of opening statements. Can I please get a volunteer to help draw the names? All right, way up there. Oh, right there. Hey, sorry. You come do one. Nicholas Shaw. Valerie Harrington. All right, the order is Nicholas Shaw, Valerie Harrington, Sandra Blake, Virgil Wind, Ginger Wias. Did you guys notice for the chief executives, they were sitting and how they went up? That never happens. So, all right, we're going to begin with opening statements. I'll remind you, candidates and everybody in attendance, you will receive 3 minutes to make your opening statements. The time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. First candidate, Nicholas Shaw.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, y'all smoked a couple out there. You're all ready. I'm Nick Shaw. For you, those who don't know me or didn't watch the live stream on Monday, I'm 29 years old. I'm the son of Michael Shaw and Carolyn Bolio over there. I've been working for the tribe since I was 14 years old, so that's about 15 years now. And I'm educated. I have graduated with my BA in 2015. I never really thought about running for office. It just wasn't something I really thought about. But in the recent years, I've been catching myself like just talking about how we can improve our community and all that. Like it's little things like sidewalks so people aren't walking in the middle of the road, and then streetlights to go with that so at night I don't have to worry about someone just coming out of nowhere and something bad happening. Or just our parks, they're just falling apart. We don't have any maintenance that goes around and keeps them clean and safe. Our children are, they're at risk every single time they play there. Even our teenagers, I go to the casino like at midnight, and why are these teenagers walking around the hotel? Because they have nothing else to do. They'd rather be bored at the hotel than stay at home. And then, of course, that leads to, the crisis with drugs and all that. Because if you have nothing going on here, then you're looking for an escape. So we need to start doing things around here that before anyone starts with their making a mistake where it could ruin their lives, is we got to improve policies and all that just to, just make it so they never have to go through that trauma. And other things like just jobs and homelessness and all that. And I feel like, it's just, we've had the same leaders for about 20 years, and they've done great stuff. I've seen great amount of change growing up here. But I feel like, they're still worried about how it was instead of worried about how we can still make it better here. We just become stagnant. And I believe we just need a new viewpoint in office, and I believe I'm the person to do that. So, thank you.
Please hold applause. Next candidate, Valerie Harrington.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight. Miigwech for listening to me and the other candidates. Anin, Debekoy Indigenakaz, Magizi and Dudame. My name is Valerie Harrington, and with respect and humbleness, I'm running for the position of District 1 Representative. I'm engaged to Dan Wynn Jr. Jointly, we have 3 children, Mariah, Caitlin, and Kevin, and we have a grandbaby, Mille. My parents are Kimberly Sam and Brad Harrington Sr. My grandparents are Roberta Davis, Leonard Sam, Agnes Pendegayash, and Hoyt Harrington. And my great-grandparents are Frank and Starry Skinaway. I have lived on the reservation my entire life. I graduated from Wanemia High School. I got my AA degree from CLC. I got my bachelor's degree from the College of St. Scholastica. I majored in business and minored in accounting. I received my master's degree from the University of Minnesota in tribal administration and governance. I have been a dedicated employee to our tribe. I have worked for, learned from, and represented youth services, energy emergency assistance, small business development, and tribal child support enforcement. My most recent experience is with the legislative branch, Chief Communications Officer. And I am a Native Nation Rebuilder, Cohort 10, #BID. I am a Tarot Commissioner. I am co-chair for Wewin Chapter. I am a treasurer for Red Brick Group. I am co-chair for Amino Makana. And I support people seeking recovery. I am a member of Sober Squad. I grew up learning ceremonies and the cultural practice with each season. I have a passion for my community, and I attend many local, state, and federal meetings. This education and experience is not only what I bring as a candidate. I'm running for District 1 representative to help give back to our tribe, and I've always wondered how I could give more back to the community. The best way is to serve the people. I wanted to run for office 4 years ago, but I didn't have the education, so I went back to school, and I could see during that time that we needed a lot of services and improvement. And I think it's time for a new generation of leadership to step up. I think it's time for change. I want fairness in our government.
Again, please hold the applause. Next candidate, Sandra Blake.
Bonjour, Gakina, Wea, Misquaniquidukwe, Indigenous Kaz, Minwa Sandra Blake, and Digo. I was born and raised in District 1, and I've been married to my husband, Benji Blake, for 43 years. We have 3 children, Rochelle, Max, Minwa, Giwiana Quedaba. Together we have 19 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild, all of whom we love very, very much. I carry a bachelor's degree from St. Scholastica in organizational development. And it is a great honor and privilege for me to serve you as your district representative. My leadership shows through my experience in office in the past 16 years. In band government and community, I've demonstrated my ability to work with others in mutual and compromising issues and situations. This is what getting the job done is all about. All candidates can come here and tell you what they're going to change and make better. We all want better for our people. It's not about what one person promises to do. It's about being able to work alongside other government officials and making change together. It's about getting along and respecting each other. Many of you know I am transparent, fair, and trustworthy in carrying out the duties of the district office. My style of leadership is one of Menadain de Moen, respect, Gwekwadaziwin, honesty, Debadain de Ziwin, humility, Debwewin, truth, Minua Aquadeowin, bravery and courage. I have solid experience you can count on, including these noteworthy projects I am proud to have been a part of and bring into our district. Grand Market Grocery Store, Wewanabe Early Education Building for our Abanujiag, Mino Bimaraziwin to address homelessness. Elder Supplemental Income Program so our elders are taken care of. I carry a strong understanding of our band financial portfolio and comprehensive knowledge of our band government finance system. This is about where our money is at and how it flows into government and includes our revenue allocation plan, financial investment policy, which speaks to our minor trust savings, money markets, bonds, endowments, and appropriating band biennium budget, appropriation bills that revise band budgets, stimulus payments for our people, meanwhile, land leases, enrollments, enacting and revising band statutes. But the most satisfying part of being district representative for me is helping our community and hosting events, and supporting groups and individuals. Examples are supporting our Drum Society, our AMVETS, Women's Auxiliary, August Traditional Powwow, New Year's Eve Powwow, July Community Picnic, Halloween Party at Holiday Dinner, Open Gym at the Community Center, Men's Gathering, Women Empowering Women, Drum and Dance, Sober Squad, Minwa Family Fundraisers. Sagadiwin, I'm there for you. I've experienced pain and tragedy. When I see band members going through hardship, I assist with gas and travel.
Next candidate, Virgil Wind.
You ready? Are we ready? All right, here we go. Hello, my name is Virgil Wind. I'm a band member. I've been raised here since I was adopted at the age of 4 years old. I'm the proud parent of 5 of the most wonderful, beautiful children that there is. They are as different as the day is long, though. I also have a beautiful, feisty fiance, forever fiance, right? As an entrepreneur, since I was tying the lawnmower to the back of my bike at the age of 8, I have managed money, projects, people, and personalities. As a contractor for over 25 years, I have managed millions and millions of dollars worth of projects. I've been a school board member, proudly representing our family and youth. I've been an addict, a father, and a dear friend to many. That'll never change. I've been blessed to have Mille Lacs Band as my home. I was raised by my grandparents where I was taught a life of respect, love, and hope. Back then, Mille Lacs Band, District 1, was just a couple of bumpy gravel roads. We were poor people, but I didn't know it because we had the two things that we all need, love and a home. That's what MLB is to me, and that's what I want to give back to. This candidacy is about giving back, as I have been blessed with the strength of knowing that no matter where my life takes me, I will always have a home. MLB is that home. Time changes our perception. Time changes our outlook. Our outlook changes as we grow. I want to be your leader. As I look out into the crowd, I see a beautiful crowd, a beautiful night, and it's a wonderful honor to be here asking to be your next district representative. I see people who believe in what we can be. I see people that are part of a band member family that need us as leaders to work as a team for the betterment of us all. My family, my friends, MLB, my people, my passion. Band members, I ask you, what do we need? Where are we falling short? In the last couple of weeks, I've met with a great number of band members, and one commonality is out there, that we're okay with just being okay. We're not okay. As leaders, it should not be okay. Leadership should reflect that this is not our final chapter, this is only the beginning. As leaders, we must push the envelope and push our people to step up by showing them every opportunity available to them. Thrive, not survive. Thank you.
Next candidate, Ginger Wias.
Anin Buju, Niganaga Bawikwe Indigenous, Biju and Dudame. My name is Ginger Wias. I am a mother, a grandmother, a sister, an auntie, a cousin, a wet'ah, and I have lived here in Mille Lacs in District 1 all my life. My mom is Natalie Wias, Natalie Garbo Wias, and my father is Robert Wias. My family has deep roots here and lived here for generations. I grew up listening to how we have become the non-removable Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. I have listened to my aunties and my uncles talk about the devastation of having the houses burnt down and removals to White Earth, and removing our children to foster care or institutions or boarding schools, of being relocated to the urban cities for promises of prosperity. And all that time, our culture was being ripped away. We were told not to speak our language. We were told not to practice our ceremonies. And I feel like I'm a product also of that historical trauma. But we survived, and we are still here. 4 years ago, I ran for District 1 rep, and there was a lot of issues that we were facing back then. We had unemployment, we still had boarded up housing, we had homelessness, our neighborhoods were poor and sad and dilapidated, and we had a lot of drug use. But we are right now in survival mode still, and we are hurting. These are symptoms of a disconnected community. And as the District 1 representative, I want to be your voice to listen to you guys and sit down and listen to what you guys need for your community, just like I want. I want my grandkids to grow up in a place that we are proud of. and I want to be your District 1 rep to make that happen. Please vote either by absentee or at the polls and vote for WEOS 2020. Thank you. Miigwech.
That concludes our opening statements. At this time, we will take an estimated 10-minute break to organize questions from the audience for District 1 representatives. Candidates, please go back to the sequester room. Oh. 10-minute break. And while the microphone's still on, I'll remind you, evaluations at the front table. Everybody loves evaluations. I'm coming around. I know we all love them. Please fill them out and help us make this process better. Thank you. All right, welcome back. If we could start wrapping up our questions, our conversations, finding our seats. We now have organized the questions and are ready to proceed. We will follow in the same order as the opening statements. Candidates not speaking will remain sequestered during the question and answer phase. Please have Nicholas Shaw come out. Welcome back, Nicholas. As you're coming back in, I'll remind you of the rules. You'll get 3 questions. You'll get 1 minute to respond to those questions. Time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. First question. How much do you know about the Mille Ban statutes?
I've been reading the statutes a little bit since I decided to run. I've mostly been looking at the D1 representative part because that's what I'm going for. So I understand that I'm there basically to represent all of you and then bring any issues and all that to band assembly, introduce bills, and also create like community groups to help out. As for that, I keep reading them and try to retain the information, but I'm not totally educated in it, but I'm a quick learner, and yeah, it's all available online. I can just read it anytime I want. So.
Second question. How can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
So that goes with the statutes too, is I believe family services falls under the executive branch and all that, but we would work closely with both the executive branch and hopefully try to change policy where, again, we would want it where instead of going to foster homes and try to get with these kids if they get taken away from their parents for whatever reason to go in with their families, be it an aunt, uncle, grandparents, stuff like that. We just want to make sure that they stay in with their family. I mean, I was in foster care as a kid, and my grandma stepped up and took me in, and I believe it was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I could have been in the system and lost and been completely different today. And I would just want to make sure that we could do the same, and I would fight for that.
Third question. How would you go about getting your residents more involved with the legislative process and keep them informed?
Last month, I believe, the community meeting I attended, and it went on very long, and it wasn't very informative. It was mostly we were just being talked at, and then any questions we were asked were dodged and all that. I believe we would improve that, where your voices are heard. We would be transparent in what we're talking about. I would let you know exactly why something's happening, why it's not happening, even if it makes me look bad. I mean, because it would be my job as your representative to make sure that you're being represented within our government. So your voice is my voice, and I mean that. Like, without you guys, I'm basically just getting paid to do nothing. So I will be there for you and available at any second. My door will always be open. So.
Thank you. Please have Valerie Harrington come out. Welcome back, Valerie. As you're walking in, I'll remind you of the rules. You'll get 3 questions. You'll have 1 minute to respond to each question. Time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. The first question, how much do you know about our Mille Ban statutes?
Well, in going to the University of Minnesota, we did have to do a lot of case studies on sovereignty, and most of the cases were related to other tribes. But since working in legislative, you have to know about the titles that are currently being worked on. And I have read the statutes, I just don't know them all by heart. And I think it's really important that we know them, and I know that they have to be updated in order to cater to all the things that are going on, like in housing or family services. If the statutes were updated and the titles were changed, the processes may be better for the things that, are of concern to our people. But I know statutes are important, and I know that a lot of them are being updated and worked on, and some get rescinded and revised, but I think it's important for us to be involved.
Second question. How can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
Can you say that again?
Yep. How can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
I believe the policy is changed through the executive branch, but as far as through legislative, how that could work is, we could do an audit on the program, and whatever the findings are, we could build and work towards creating a better program. But I think it's gonna take a lot of us to speak up about it. And I know that there's been a lot of complaints, but I don't know if they're in writing or getting to the right people. So maybe if enough of us speak up about it, that we could get somewhere. And an elected official is just, by themselves, but they need the support of the people, and we need the support of the other elected officials. So in order for any policy to make any changes, we need the support of everybody. And I think that it's good to get involved in that.
Third question. How would you go about getting your residents more involved with the legislative process and keep them informed?
That's great. That's exactly what I would want as a representative. I would want people to be involved in sharing, and I would want people to be submitting their own resolutions because we're the people that live here, so we know what's wrong. We know what needs to be worked on. And I believe it's best when it comes from us because we're the ones that have to deal with the consequences, whether they're good or bad. So I believe that we should be way more involved in the process. And I think the meetings should be like how they are now. They're being live streamed. I think it's important for us because sometimes we're working, so we can't get to the meetings. And I think it's important to have live stream, be more involved. And I think it's best for representatives and elected officials to share that information too and want us to be involved and be more inviting of us to meetings and things like that. Miigwech.
Please have Sandra Blake come out. Welcome back, Sandra. As you're walking up, I'll remind you the rules. 3 questions again tonight. You have 1 minute to respond. The time will start when you start talking. The timer will remind you when you have 30 seconds left, 15 seconds, and as your time expires. Your first question is, how much do you know about our Mille Lacs band statutes?
I know quite a bit about our Mille Lacs band statutes, and I've been in office for 16 years, so I know that there's a lot of amendments and revisions that need to happen because they're antiquated, which means that they were written in 1986 in the 80s, and that we've outgrown them. We've evolved to where we're more complicated as a band. Our programs are more complicated, our situations are different, and so all of these band statutes are antiquated. We're currently working on developing a revisor's office, and that revisor's office will help to identify the important ones that we need to revise and amend immediately.
Second question. How can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
we would need to gather a committee together, and the committee would need to be having family services, community members, judicial people, and band assembly. We'd need a committee to gather together to, that policy would really need to speak to the family services department, and it would need to speak to the social workers and the way that they, the rules and regulations that they follow. I have a big issue with social workers now taking children out of the homes. We have way too many kids out of homes. It's just, I can't even talk about it. It makes me so mad. But that policy would have to talk to the social workers and their regulations as far as how long and when they can take kids. They're just taking our kids left and right and placing them all over the place. They're even putting them in facilities. Kids that did not do anything wrong, they put them in facilities like Port or Lino Lakes.
Third question. How would you go about getting your residents more involved with the legislative process and keep them informed?
We could put out invitations to join some of these committees and the revisions that need to be done in the statutes, and then keeping people informed. I host a community meeting monthly, and we put out the agenda, and I try to go through the current commissioners and their departments and whatever topics are important at that period of time. That's what we'll invite to the agenda so that they can come and present to the community, and by that way we are keeping the community informed. Also during that time I would go over the past month's band assembly and some of the highlights of what we are working on in band assembly. So it's important to come to your community meetings, and like I said, I always have an open door policy. I'm always available to talk when somebody wants to reach me.
Thank you very much. Please have Virgil Wynn come out. Welcome back, Virgil. As you're walking up, I'll remind you of the rules. You'll have 3 questions, 1 minute to respond to each question. Time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires, your first question. How much do you know about the Mille Band statutes?
Mille Band statutes. I have done my fair share of reading here in the last couple months. They're there. They govern us. They make us who we are. They give us the strength to hold our people accountable. They give us the strength to enact new laws. They give us the strength to help our people. They tell us what direction we can go. They can be rewritten as legislators. That's what we do. You know, you revisit statutes. You write new laws. You change things. We constantly got to be evolving. We constantly have to be changing these things and reviewing them and making sure that they fit for today. A lot of the things that we're governed by today are laws and rules that were written a long time ago. It's a different world, and we have to be changing, we have to be evolving, and we have to know that we're making things happen for the band members right now and not yesterday.
Second question. How can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
One more time. Sorry.
How can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
First off, I think we have to understand the policy. And again, we have to make sure that it's not a dated policy. We have to make sure that, if there are things in that policy that protect our kids, regardless of what we feel as a community, if our kids are in danger, we have to put them in a safe place. Changing policy, know the policy, know where the problems are, know how we got to fix them. As an orphan, I do believe that we all have a place within our band. I just can't believe that when we're spending $130 million a year that we don't have a safe haven for 30 kids tonight. A place that our parents could go and see their kid for a short time being. A place where our kids can go for something as simple as a meal, right? A place where our kids can go for something as simple as just a warm bed to sleep in with blankets and sheets and the comforts that we all take for granted.
Third question, how would you go about getting your residents more involved with the legislative process and keep them informed?
I would represent, right? I would represent. That's what my job would be. With the right amount of votes, we are Mille Lacs Band. We do, the job of the representative is to represent the people. And again, you're going to hear me say a lot, evolve, right? We got to make sure that we're constantly changing. We got to make sure that we're not stuck in one place. We have to make sure that we're changing with the world. I mean, we're kind of stuck in a spot where things change and we're not there. With a new perspective, with new ideas, with new committees, with new people running the programs, the sky's the limit. But we need to evaluate, a lot of evaluation at first.
Thank you. That's your 3 questions. Please have Ginger Wias come out. Ginger, as you're walking back out, welcome back. I'll remind you of the rules. 3 questions again tonight, 1 minute to respond to each question. Time will start when you start talking. The timer will let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires. First question, how much do you know about our Mille Lacs Band statutes?
How much do I know about Mille Lacs Band statutes? I know that we have a statute that was passed, 1980s, 90s. I understand most of the statutes I've read. I don't know. I know that we need to, we were just talking back in the back room about the Family Services Statute and how it is impacting our community and how it is outdated and doesn't meet our needs for our families. And I know that when we need to look at each of those statutes so that it meets the current needs of our people, not from 1980s when we were a smaller tribe, but how it's going to meet our needs today.
Second question, how can you change policy to decrease the number of children in foster homes?
As a District 1 rep, like I was telling you, we were just talking about that in the back room, about how our children are taken away, not taken away, but we're not even able to connect with them once they are in child protection. We're told that it's confidential and private, and I have cousins, I have people in my family that have lost their children, and we haven't seen them. And so, how am I going to do that? I'm going to look at that statute and make sure that those things are put in there so that we, as families, are able to know who our babies are, where they're at, and how are they doing, so that we can take care of them. We shouldn't have to have anybody else take care of our families but ourselves.
Third question, how would you go about getting your residents more involved with the legislative process and keep them informed?
So like we were talking about this Family Services Statute, I think it's really important that we hold some town meetings. We could have you guys come up here and we can sit back there and you tell us what you need. You tell us the problems and the issues and the stories that are impacting you as a community member. How are you affected by laws and statutes that don't meet your needs, and how it hurts to live here because we're so dictated on and we're told that this is what you can and can't do, and it doesn't meet your needs to take care of your families. Any statute that is outdated or doesn't meet our needs should be revised. And having youth sitting at the table or in a circle, however we want to do it, let's get that started immediately. As soon as I'm in there as District 1 rep, I'll have you guys sitting at the table with me. I'll set up some meetings in this big room or at the casino, anywhere, so I can hear what you guys need. I gotta go get my papers.
Thank you, Ginger. We'll now invite all of the candidates to come back out to give closing statements. I've been asked to do an announcement. The District 3 meeting coming up will be at the Ojibwe Community Center. There was a question on where it was going to be. That's where it'll be at. Welcome back, candidates. We'll now get ready to start with our closing statements. As a reminder, you'll get 3 minutes for your closing statement. Time starts when you start talking. Timer will remind you when there's 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, 15 seconds remaining, and as your time expires, again, we're going in reverse order from opening statements and questions. Ginger Wias will go first.
Ani Buju again. So for closing, you know, I'm running for District 1 rep so that I could be your voice for the people. I want to be able to listen and change through legislation things that will help our community. I was talking about respect and respecting what respect means to me. So my uncle, Reginald Garbo, once wrote about respect, and he talked about having respect for the leaders, past and present, and because they're making hard decisions. Having respect for the medicines that we have, and I'm talking about the drugs also. They all have spirits, right? And they should be used with caution. So getting that teaching out there to the people that are using, and to understand that using those excessively isn't good for you. But also having respect for money. We're talking about, because we're a rich tribe and we have a lot of money, but we can't take that money with us. So using it to provide a betterment for our community is what we need. We need to come up with ideas and solutions that would help us today and help our future generations feel good about who we are as Anishinaabe people. And he also talked about having respect for people's dreams and hopes. You know, he was a wise man, and I really am proud to call him my uncle. As your District 1 rep, I want to connect your voices and your ideas to government. I want to be your voice to speak on issues plaguing our community. I believe it is vital to integrate our values and beliefs into all decisions we make on behalf of our people. I want to be your voice. I don't want 4 more years to go by and we're sitting here talking about the same issues in 4 more years. Voting is your right, and voting does matter. You matter, our people matter, our kids matter, our community matters. I feel that I can best represent you because I have lived here for many years in District 1 and know the hurt and trauma that we have gone through and how we can help and work and make our lives better here. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Virgil Wind.
You're good? All right. First off, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here in front of such fine people here tonight. My people, right? MLB, D1. Here we are. I'd like to take a minute to revisit what I was saying as I was out of time there. You know, thrive, not survive. That's what we need to be about in leadership. Let's also take a moment to recognize the courage that it takes to step up and run for public office. And let's also show the utmost respect to our current and prior leadership. Thank you for all you do and all that you have done. We're very grateful. However, sometimes to get to a different destination, we need to change the driver of the vehicle. I'm not saying that everything that we're doing is not working. If it's working and if it makes people feel healthy and if it makes people better people, if it empowers our people, then let's enhance it. Let's take it to the next level. Let's level up, right? Let's not be stuck where we're at. It's a cruel world with changing questions, changing problems, and as leaders, we need to recognize that the world is constantly changing. We must change with it. Are we happy with where we are? Do we know where we're headed? What are our needs? And last and most important, what is our plan to get there? If we're not constantly adjusting, we're going to go watch problems turn into bigger problems. They'll become monsters. Monsters that we cannot control, and that's where we are right now. We have the opioid crisis, the housing problem, family services, poverty. The list goes on and on about things that we need to fix. It could change with leadership. Proactive, not reactive. Thriving, not surviving. One of the biggest reasons I decided to run was asset protection. Band members, right? Number one. That's who we work for. That's what we're here for. Band members. Let's invest so much in our children that when the bad comes in, it's already too late. They're already too busy. They already have a plan for their lives. Education is key, no matter who we are as band members. We can constantly be learning. We can constantly be getting better. And as leaders, we need to make sure that those opportunities are put in front of you. My campaign, I believe that the most important part of this position is you, the band member. My campaign is different than anyone else's campaign. I don't have any flashy, overwritten promises. It's about connection. It's about representation. What I'm selling is connection. I'm selling comfort. I'm selling hope. I'm selling empowerment. I'm selling a clear and compassionate, consistent voice for all. We are beautiful people with beautiful hearts full of hope and the ability to persevere, the ability to survive. Now is the time as leaders to make it all possible to make our people thrive again. We need to get back to the backbone that has always made us strong, family, community, and the ability to support all band members without bias or prejudice. Thank you.
Next candidate, Sandra Blake.
Miigwech community for coming out tonight. Without you, this wouldn't be a success. Miigwech Tadan for dinner, Native Governance for hosting, and Red Circle for live streaming. I work hard to protect the band's interests throughout the entire reservation. I'm proud to have been a part of bringing our new community center and state-of-the-art clinic to District 1. Both will contribute to the overall health and wellness of our community members. It is a gratifying moment to see how far we as a people have come with careful planning and by making the right choices. Our parents and grandparents would be so proud, being that they came from a time not so long ago when we didn't have anything. Let us always remember our ancestors as we look to the future for our children. In closing, my focus will continue to be on the issues that matter the most to the people of the band. I will always work to address the drug crisis, violence against women, our elder care and support network, access to care, especially diabetes, per capita payments, Ojibwe mowing and education for all children, family services and the number of children who are out of home placement, homelessness, Mille Lacs County and the reservation boundary issue. I believe that we must take ownership of our problems and continue to set the tone and path to restoring our identity as vibrant and proud Anishinaabe. I have a lot of work yet to accomplish, and I want to continue working tirelessly for you. I will always serve you, the band members, and tribal government with Manadane Moen, respect, Gwekwadaziwin, honesty, Bedadane Deziwin, humility, Debwewin, truth, Minua Aquadewin, bravery and courage. You will never have to second guess where I stand or what my motives are. The people of the band are my priority. I am the best candidate for district representative to empower our band members. Your interests are my interests and will continue to be so should you decide to give me the opportunity to continue serving you. As district representative, I will continue to work hard to make the Mille Lacs Band Reservation a better place for all band members. I will continue to make sure that your voices be heard to the fullest and represented. Many of you know that I've held that district office in the highest regard. Time after time, I have proven leadership through thoughtful and conservative decision-making that you can count on. Our elders provide me with strong guidance and direction. I'm grateful for their advice. I've always maintained an open door policy, and I've always been there to listen and provide guidance and direction. I am the best candidate for district representative. Your interests are my interests. Miigwech Bazindawieg. Thank you for listening to me. Dagana, vote Sandra Blake, district representative.
Next candidate, Valerie Harrington.
Miigwech again for being here and listening to us tonight. Miigwech to the other candidates. Miigwech to NGC, Government Affairs, and Red Circle for broadcasting. It's an honor to be among fellow community members that are stepping up. That is one of the priorities of mine, is to encourage more people to be leaders and create more community involvement in our government. We need to invest in our people. We have amazing, talented people in our community that can contribute to the success of our tribe. I know being an elected official will be challenging and time-consuming. I will devote my attention to the position and work well with all and be available. I'm committed to our community, and I hear firsthand at meetings the things that our people are going through. I have had the opportunity to visit with band members and have heard similar concerns being unanswered and not treated well. Most of the concerns are dental, not able to get an appointment or not receiving good service, employment, background check barriers, transportation issues, family services. We need more workers. We need a better process where the program priority is reuniting families. We need to ensure that the workers are being truthful. Housing, complaints of boarded up homes, losing their applications and having to wait long for loans and issues with work orders. Background check barriers, and housing seems to be an issue with our growing population and our need for better policies. Addiction, people not being able to get into treatment, families afraid of losing their loved ones. I have the same fear when I hear an ambulance siren. I have gone through trauma and hardships. I know what it's like to struggle like everyone else. Community gossip, lateral violence, negativity on social media. I remember when our community was closer than it is today, and we need to get back to that. When a tragedy occurs, we all come together. I think we need to do that more often for good things. I am grateful for this opportunity as your District 1 representative. I will work hard for us. I want the same things as you. I want our kids and grandkids to live their dreams and know their culture and language. The decisions being made that affect our community, our tribe, and our children's future should be made by us. I want to host broadcasted community meetings, and the agenda, the community decides. I have ideas and solutions to better our government. However, it's not about me. It's about you. It's about us. It's time our voice is heard. It's time for a new generation of leadership. It's time for change. It will be an honor to represent you. I want to hear from you. Please contact me anytime. I have materials outside with my contact information, and to learn more about me, please go to my Facebook page. Please vote Valerie Harrington. Miigwech.
Next candidate, Nicholas Shaw.
Thanks everybody for coming out. I didn't really write anything down because I just had a few key points I wanted to go because I wanted to talk from the heart. This is very important to me as running for D1 here, and also I'm very proud of everyone that's up here with me. Everyone up here has great ideas. Some of us have the same ideas, and we're just trying to make change within our government and make the Brez a better place for all of us. But like I said earlier, we've had the same leadership ever since I was in elementary school. And I have now 4 kids of my own, and I feel like we're still asking the same questions about the same issues. And I believe it's time for someone new to step up and just, take the progress we already made and take us into a new era. Things like job skill training, like with band member development, all that, because we do get a lot of band members jobs at like the small businesses and all that, but that's it. These guys don't have rides, they don't have daycare or anything like that. They're just sit there and they're set up to fail, and then they get fired, moved on to the next place. They shouldn't be that. They should be going in there, learning how to run that place, and then taking it over. Things like life skill classes, cooking classes. My wife, when she was younger, said there was cooking classes here, and she loved it. That's got her and her family to spend time together. We don't have stuff like that. Sure, we have the big parties in the summer and around Christmas, but what else do we got? We should have weekly, like, family activities where we all come together as a community and build that bond. Things like, even like I talked earlier with maintenance and cleaning, just have a yard service so we don't have to mow our own yard. Like, everything will just look nice and clean. Some people can't do that. And it just should be done. Sidewalks, street lights, we should have be safe. Treatment centers right here in District 1. So people who do go on their journey to sobriety have their family right next door to come visit them every single day if they want. I'm very passionate about this. I recently am getting a job that I've been working very hard for a year, something I'm very proud about, and this is more important than that. I'm only 29, but I believe I can take that torch and be the voice you guys all really need. Thank you.
Make sure I got everybody. All right. So that concludes tonight's District 1 portion of the candidate forum. Let's give all the District 1 representative candidates a round of applause. I want to thank the candidates and the audience for participating and for your respect of the guidelines. It's been an honor and a privilege to learn more about the candidates' thoughts, values, and vision for the Mille Lacs Band. Good night, safe travels, everyone home. Also,